Hello and welcome to Lord of the Board. My name is Sam Smith, and today we're going to be looking at Back to the Future Dice Through Time, which is a 2 through 4 player cooperative board game set in the Back to the Future universe. So we are going to be going through a couple of different things. First of all, we're going to look at the components of the game. Then I'm going to give you a general idea on how exactly it plays. At the end of the video, I'm going to be giving you guys some rules and guidelines on how to get yourself a free copy, because we are actually going to be doing a giveaway. So if you're interested in that, definitely stay till the end of the video. Before we really dive in, I kind of have a confession to make. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of Back to the Future. I had never really watched it when I was growing up, and because of that I just wasn't really super invested in the story or anything like that. And so what I decided to do was I decided to watch all 3 movies. But all that being said, I'm pretty new to this, and so getting this board game and playing this board game was a very interesting experience for me. And now, having watched the movies, I can see that this game really was made for those fans. It is made as a game that can show that theme and where you can relive those memories that you saw in the movies. But I want to go over the components first, so let's go ahead and dive into the box. We've got these 4 player boards, and each one comes in a different color, and the colors represent the different timelines in the game. They also represent the 4 different player colors within the game, and they also represent all of these 4 different Biff tokens, each one in one of the 4 timelines as well. You are also going to get dice, 4 dice in each color representing one of the timelines. You're going to be getting a lot of these Einstein tokens. You're going to be getting these paradox token, a first player token, a bunch of event cards, and then item cards that come in each of the 4 timelines. You're also going to get an out of time token, which will be used to signal the end of the game. Now, overall, I will say that the quality of these pieces is really good, especially for the price that we're paying for the game. And I do like the art style where it has kind of that zeroed out face look, so you can kind of have your own mind put in the faces and do that interpreting, which lets your imagination kind of run wild. There's also a lot of cool little head nods to the movies, like I said previously. They're all throughout these event cards and cards, so that's really helpful for fans of the movie. I also really like how the dice are actually screen printed. That is a very helpful touch as well. So now, moving on from the components, let's go ahead and see exactly how this game is really going to be working. So at the beginning, each player is going to be taking a color, and they're going to be grabbing the DeLorean in that color. And at the very beginning of the game, every player is going to be rolling these dice, and all of these symbols are going to be doing different things throughout the game. So some of them you can use to actually move to go between timelines. Some of them you can use to move on the current timeline that you're on. Others can be used to remove these terrible and annoying paradox tokens that will be appearing on the board, which will make your time run out faster. And basically what you're trying to do in the game is manipulate these dice in order to grab and complete events. And when you're completing these events, you're going to be getting these item cards in that same timeline. You're going to be collecting those item cards, and you can only carry 2 on you at a time. You're going to be trying to take those item cards back to the right timeline and the right location. And when you do that, you're going to be helping you guys buy some time, and that is going to help you guys get closer to winning the game, because the way that you win the game in this is you have to get through all of these item cards in each of the 4 timelines. So one of the things that they add in there is that you can actually add more cards to each of these piles, and that will increase the game's difficulty. Now, another thing about the game is that when you cross paths with another player, you're actually going to ripple the time, and it will make your time run out a little quicker. Also, at the end of the round, if there are any events left inside of a certain timeline, the one with the most events is going to get those paradox tokens I was talking about, and these are going to make you lose time even faster. For each event inside that timeline with the most, you're going to be going down that number of spaces on this out of time track. But if they have paradox tokens, each one of those is going to add an additional space down that track, so you don't want to leave them on the board. And I mean, throughout the game, you're going to be able to get rid of them with certain dice rolls, and you're also going to be able to get rid of them by completing those events that those tokens are on. So another thing about the game that I think is really cool that you can do is you can set a dice that you didn't use on your turn in a location, and everybody in future timelines is able to manipulate and use that dice on their turn. So I really like that kind of dynamic, and it really is a simple way to show that time travel and changing certain things in the time-space continuum can actually have those effects in the future for other players to use and fix certain events in their own timelines. After every player has used up all the dice on their turn, you're going to be checking to see which timeline has those events and moving the time down. If the players ever run out of time, the game is over and they lose. However, if the players are able to retrieve all of those item cards back to their timelines and deplete all 4 decks, the players win. Now, I forgot to mention that throughout the game you also have this Biff token, and there is a Biff in each timeline. When he is at a location and there is an event at that location, you have to move him and punch him out of the way in order to complete that event. So Biff can also get in the way of a lot of your guys' plans, and he will be very annoying in each and every timeline, just like the movies. So we've looked at some of the components. I've given you kind of a breakdown of how the game works. Now I kind of want to go over some of my final thoughts. Now, first off, the game does play very well at higher player counts, the 3 players, the 4 players. I did not enjoy it as much as a 2-player game, but that is definitely not where this game shines. This game definitely does shine with higher player counts where the movement is a little bit more crunchy, because what I found is that when you're playing in the 2-player game, it's a little bit easier to move around each other and you'll never really run into running out of time. However, the more players you have on the board, it's a lot more crunchy and a lot more hard to get around the board without touching each other, and sometimes you have to make and take those risks in order to complete those events in time. One thing that I absolutely love about the game is that it really does have this curve where first there's only going to be a couple of events, and then every turn there's going to be more and more and more and more events, and it sometimes feels like it's impossible, and you just have to gather up all these items going between all these timelines, leaving a rippling dice for somebody in the future to use on their turn in order to complete this event down here. And it's a very, very exciting cinematic and thematic experience that can really, really bring some laughter and some yelling at the table. Kudos to the game creators for really bringing out that Back to the Future feel within this board game. Another note would be that I wish that there had been a little bit more variability with some of these events. All of the events basically have a dice side on them, and you have to be able to have those dice in order to complete them. I guess I just wish that there would be a little bit more variability in some of them, maybe like certain positioning. I'm not really sure, but it just kind of seemed like some of the events seemed to be a little repetitive, where you would kind of draw 2 of the same ones and have them both at the same location, which seemed a little weird. So maybe just even more events, although it seems like there's already a ton. And kudos to the illustrator and graphic designer, because the game is beautiful, all set up and laid out to play. And all the different Biffs in the different timelines changing their clothes to look just like they are in the movies. And then also on the player boards you can see Marty and Doc actually look so similar to the characters and look like them in those different timelines. I really like the graphic design in this game. So all in all, I would say that this game is an excellent representation of the movies, and I think that for people who are fans of the movies will really, really enjoy it. People who have not seen the movies are still going to find enjoyment in the game itself, but it definitely heightens the experience if you are a fan of Back to the Future. So you've made it here, you've made it to the end of the video. Let me talk to you a little bit about how you can win your own copy and join this giveaway that I'm running. So super easy. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and comment down below, and you get extra points if you comment something that has to do with Back to the Future, maybe a quote or a certain scene that you really liked, or maybe why you think a new cooperative game would be something that could fit into your collection. Really, as long as you comment down below and you're subscribed to the channel, I will be randomly choosing a winner in the date on the description down below. So please stay tuned and stay excited. With that, thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and drop the beat.